Hello, everyone. I am Sacrabalic, your envoy of hope, and welcome to Dialogue Tree, Episode 12. It has officially been 2 years since we've started this show, and therefore it has been 2 years since I've been on schedule. We actually almost were not on schedule tonight. I'm not going to lie to you because it is super fucking late at night. So I would not be shocked if no one shows up to this. And you know what? That's okay. That was a risk I decided to take when I decided to stream as late as fucking humanly possible. So that's okay with me. That's fine. That is what's going to happen. Because I considered delaying the stream till tomorrow. And I decided to not do that because I would rather keep my schedule than I think anyone show up. That is the decision I actively made. Plus, honestly, I don't think the show is that terrible in a past broadcast form, even though no one actually watches it. So you know what? If I'm streaming alone tonight, that's fucking fine. That's what's happening. Obviously, this is a dialogue tree, so we've got our booze for the night. So I went up and picked up the original Club Tales. So we got three of these. This one right here is Long Island Iced Tea. We got Bahama Mama. And we've got Margarita, which you can't see because the green screen keys out that color. So I'm going to start a Long Island Iced Tea, just because I don't actually know what a Long Island Iced Tea tastes like, even though I don't think this is made properly, because it's like 10% alcohol. We'll never fucking know. We'll never fucking know if this is made properly or not. Because they don't list alcohol ingredients on booze for whatever reason. I don't know why. But they do not. This is apparently a Canadian beverage. Imported from Canada Ale, Rochester, New York. All right, let's give this a sip. Huh. First off, that doesn't taste like tea. I'm gonna put that out there right now. It's almost like a... It's almost like a cola with a light alcoholic bite to it at the end there. But not like a good cola. Like, imagine... Hold on, what is that? What is that flavor? It's almost like... It's almost like a Coke Zero or something, or like a Pepsi Zero, something like that. Maybe with a tinge of tea in there. Maybe with a tinge of tea in there. And then with a light ethanol-y taste at the end there. It's not good. But we're gonna drink the whole fucking can tonight. So anyway, what have I been up to lately? Not a whole lot. A lot of work, mostly. It is very stressful. I'm not sure I necessarily like the new job, but I do like the money. I do like the money. Probably the worst group of people I've ever worked with outside of my last boss. I actually do like the boss, but like just the worst fucking coworkers. I'm not going to get into the details, but that's about where I'm at right now. But the money's good. The money's real good. So you know what? Honestly, I'm gonna stick it out. I like the money. I like the hours. Is the thing is like it's a good schedule. It really satisfies me with what I want. Working together mostly. Also, welcome. I'm gonna butcher this, and I apologize. Sith Jakalahaha. Is that like a Star Wars thing, or am I just reading into it because because I'm missing the language so far. Yeah, just like they're like generally unpleasant. Like one of my supervisors is like unnecessarily snarky, and then like some of the others just like don't do any of the work, and then somehow that falls on me to make up the difference. It's ugh, you know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, Sith is fine. Okay, all right. Well, welcome. How are you doing? How are you doing the night? Um, but yeah, it's sort of stressful and frustrating, but it's good all around. So I am definitely enjoying. I like I said, I'm not sure if I necessarily enjoy the job or I enjoy the benefits of it, but regardless, I'm not looking to leave anytime soon. So hopefully, we're getting a little more stability going around. We're drinking for the record, Club Tales Long Island iced tea, which doesn't taste anything like tea. It tastes like a flat cola with some alcohol in it. But oh well. Uh, can't win them every time. I think we did the monster last week, and that was pretty good. So no, last week, 2 months ago, as if I do this every week. But yeah, let's see what's going on with the content. As far as streams have been going, I've been dead lately, as I'm sure people may have noticed. Let's see. Yeah, we're still on KOTOR. God, we've been on KOTOR for like 4 months. I do genuinely want to stream more often. At this point, more to just like get through the project than anything. But yeah, I'm just a lot of scheduling conflicts and stuff. The last few weeks have been a little rough, but I'm not super concerned about it. Hopefully, we can get back onto like a solid pace or something. Maybe I'll like really strap in and like really like buckle up and like start trying to stream harder. Probably not though. But as far as the YouTube content is going, that's going pretty solid. I'm making progress in my backlog, I guess, which is some information that no one cares about. Because as long as the uploads keep going consistently, I guess no one actually gives a shit about how far up the backlog is. But it actually matters to me because it lets me invest in longer future projects. So the fact that the backlog is starting to get stocked up means that we can keep the consistent uploads and I can start working on bigger projects. I have something fairly sizable planned in March, which I don't, based on the last project, based on the Tenchi Muyo project, I don't think is going to be viable. I'm probably not going to succeed in getting it up in any reasonable amount of time, but every bit of like extra, like every additional video I can add to the backlog. You watch your YouTubes, they're funny. Thank you. Thank you. Um, and I bet, even saying that, you don't care about how many videos I have pre-uploaded. But yeah, I can actually work on longer projects the more I have. So the fact that I'm actually losing a little bit of ground, but I'm working on. I think I've said this before. I'm okay revealing it. I'm working on this like long form. I'm working on like Monogatari episodes for Anime Favorite Search. And so Monogatari's got like, what, 11 entries or something? That's going to basically take us to the end of the year if I can get through the Monogatari series and schedule Sunday releases. So that's going to let me work on a pretty sizable project that I'm sort of aiming for in March of next year, but I absolutely cannot guarantee that that video is going to exist. Because I remember I thought I would be able to knock out the Tenchi Muyo video in 2 months, and the Tenchi Muyo video contained, I'm not making this up based on what I have planned for this project, like probably, what, is that 11? It is a fifth of the size of what I have planned in March. So don't expect the video I have planned in March is what I'm saying. That's not going to happen. It'd be pretty great, but it's not going to happen. But yeah, so that's what's going on content-wise. Very content light, I'll admit. But I'm sort of reaching a point where it's like I care less about the streams, as I've said before. So as long as the anime channel keeps the videos consistent, that's all I really care about. Let's see. Grandma Sack news. Grandma Sack has officially beat pardon me, the second Phoenix Wright game, which is, what is that, Justice for All, I think? Grandma Sack has beaten Phoenix Wright Justice for All, and was really excited to tell me about her journey through trials and tribulations. So, shout out to Grandma Sack, knocking another video game notch on her belt. But I think that's it for the updates. Pretty update light, because I didn't fucking do anything these past 2 months. Why am I looking at that is not where I'm supposed to be looking for my next topic. So yeah, I think we can get into the real topics now in 12 minutes. It's record time. I have not been derailed. So, going for the first... I will say, Seth, that you coming from the videos where I edit out every time I say the word this, oh my god, I'm still doing it. I can't stop doing it. I'm in a loop. Is got to be... You gotta watch the thoughts form live where I can't stop using filler words. It makes sense. You've been stressed because of work. Yeah, you're not wrong, but my greatest regret is the number of times I say in a single sentence. Or apparently. All right, let's actually knock into this first topic, why don't we? In the past 2 months, I beat a game that I had actually started 3 months ago, and I mentioned that I was only slightly off from beating in time. So it is the only game I have played over these 2 months, outside of Stellaris, which I will not stop fucking talking about, is... Oh, fuck, my entire body is in the way of the title. Hold up. Hey! We played Warhammer 40k Space Marine. So, I remember when Space Marine came out, I had absolutely no interest in it because I didn't know anything about Warhammer. And also, to be fair, I tried to get into Warhammer lore like 3 times over the course of like 10 years after that game came out, and I absolutely had zero interest in it because... We're going to get controversial, and I'm not even drunk yet. I'm not going to get drunk. These cans only have 10% alcohol, and there's only 3 of them. I would have to drink so fucking much. I will be at most tipsy by the end of this stream. But, yeah, so over the course of, like, 10 years, I tried to get into Warhammer lore, and I just couldn't. And, like, a major aspect of Warhammer lore is, like, the grimdark aspect. And every time I ever heard anything about it, it sounded just absolutely ridiculous. Excuse me. Yeah, so controversially, I'm really not a fan of the grimdark aspect of Warhammer. But I eventually found out that it isn't necessarily a universe that's supposed to be as serious as it's made. In fact, if you look back to like the 80s roots of it, grimdark more referred to like a sort of like metal aesthetic than like uber dark fantasy, dark sci-fi kind of stuff. So I eventually ended up getting more into the lore, as I've talked about before with, I think I talked about the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast in the War Room. Warhammer is just some bullshit. You're not wrong. So yeah, I honestly, also, can we talk about, out of context, if you don't know anything about Warhammer, how generic of a title Space Marine is? Like, how many... fucking sci-fi series do you know that have Space Marines? Just off the top of my head, the term is used in like Halo, it's used in Mass Effect. That was off the top of my head. I would love to say a third game, but I can't. Wait, isn't it? It's also used in the Alien franchise, isn't it? They had the Colonial Marine game. So that would also be Space Marines? Yeah, so like Space Marine is such a generic-ass term that if you don't know what's associated with Warhammer, I'd be like, oh, this is just like some guy in some dumb-looking plate armor. Let's be real. The fucking Astartes armor looks stupid, alright? Let's not pretend it doesn't. So, yeah, I remember like totally ignoring this game came out. Anyway, Space Marine 2 came out recently, and everyone was sucking that game's dick. Like, everyone. So I was like, shit, you know what? I know Warhammer lore now. Now that I've watched the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast, and I've gotten more into Warhammer lore. It's clunky. You are not... Yeah, exactly. It's clunky, and the plating is like, what is that, a solid 1.5 inches thick or something? Absolutely ridiculous. I always thought it looked so stupid, and it kind of does. Especially the, like, older illustrations of Space Marines. Does not look good. So, but yeah, so I was like, you know what? I know my Warhammer lore. So I decided to drop in to Space Marine 40K, or Warhammer 40K Space Marine. You can't have good mobility in that. Realistically, you cannot. If this was the real world, you cannot. The reason in universe for why Astartes armor allows for mobility is because it is locked into, it's like plugged into a special implant that goes over the Marines or below the Marine's rib cage, somewhere in the rib cage vicinity, called the black carapace, which basically makes it so that the armor functions as a sort of second layer of skin. That's the in-universe reason for why it doesn't limit. I think it does limit the mobility at least a little bit, but like in a universe where like you have like Necron guns that just like fucking shoot you back in time or like turn you to dust, it's worth it wearing the armor. The armor's like a medieval knight. Sometimes wearing the armor is actually just worth it. Because like Space Marine armor is actually good. Like it will deflect like if like a Space Marine armor will deflect like a lasgun blast, which is like military grade hardware. So and stuff like that. And it doesn't stop like chain swords or anything like that. But that's because chain swords are fucking physically impossible bullshit weapons. So. They have a monofilament film, which means that the points of the saw blades come down to a singular atom. And like all sci-fi series that address monofilament weapons, is that stupid and wildly impractical in real life? Absolutely. Although, from what I understand, chain blades in Warhammer also break constantly, which makes you wonder why the fuck they would use them. But I don't know. I didn't write the fucking series. The most I know is that they're bullshit and power scan. Oh, actually, you know what? Why you bring it up? The honest truth is that people say Warhammer as a universe is super overpowered, and the actual fact is, if you know enough about... Now, it's very inconsistent. Like, there's some crazy bullshit, like the Celestial Orrery, but like 90% of the time, whatever you hear a 40K fan say is the lore in 40K is probably just either some one-off case from like some dipshit author that had no idea what they were doing, or not even fucking true, or comes from like propaganda material published in like a codex or something. Like, 90% of the stuff that they say like a Warhammer character can do, they probably fucking can't, unless it's like a named character. Like you said, you saw Space Marine versus Darth Vader. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm sure, assuming it was like an animation by a 40K fan, I'm gonna assume the fucking Space Marine won. I guarantee fucking to you, Darth Vader would kill a fucking Space Marine. Like maybe not like a named Space Marine, probably a named Space Marine. Probably most named Space Marines. There's probably some like fucking God, what was his name? Who's the fucking Grey Knight guy? Not Rogel Dorn. That's an actual Primarch. The fucking Grey Knight, whatever, the Grey Knight leader, whatever, the fucking Grey Knight leader. Yeah, Darth Vader probably wouldn't beat the Grey Knight leader because that guy is just fucking insane. Like, that stuff that he can do is bullshit. But like, Darth Vader versus a regular Space Marine, we've seen Darth Vader in one of the more modern shows, like, stop a fucking spacecraft from taking off using the Force. Here's a real fight between Darth Vader and a Space Marine. The Space Marine rolls up, Darth Vader fucking chokes him out and just fucking dangles him by his neck until the Space Marine's head fucking pops off. I'm sorry to tell you, Warhammer fans, that's what fucking happens. Darth Vader would body a regular no-name Space Marine 100% of the time. I know an okay amount of Warhammer. I'm not like an expert, but I have seen... I've played a few games... not the tabletop, I've played a few games, and I've watched a good amount of lore videos. I don't want to say I'm an expert by any means, but I know an alright amount. But yeah, no, Darth Vader kills a fucking Space Marine. Like a no-name Space Marine, pick your fucking chapter, I don't care. Darth Vader fucking kills him. Darth Vader bodies the shit out of him. It's also worth noting that the lightsaber... theoretically, if it can cut through shit like Durasteel, it can cut through the fucking, like, adamantine ceramite fucking Space Marine armor. Like, the lightsaber just fucking goes through. So, yeah, no, it would be a fucking massacre. People like to say, oh, 40K wins because it's so powerful. This is a complete tangent, but, like, people like to say 40K wins because it's so powerful. No, like, it vastly overestimates. Like, a lot of people vastly overestimate how powerful 40K is as a sci-fi universe. So, I mean, it's strong. Don't get me wrong, but like, no, Darth Vader just fucking even canon like forget legend shit where Darth Vader's like fucking pulling like galaxy-wide like storms. I think that was Palpatine, but who fucking cares? Or shit like that. Like even canon Darth Vader kills a fucking space marine, zero issue, no fucking problem. You throw a full squad of space marines, like you throw 10 space marines at Darth Vader, you got yourself a fight. But like 1v1, some fucking no-name like Ultramarine, get out of here. Fucking dead instantly. Oh my god. Well, you've got me on this tangent, because fuck it, this whole show is just about me going on tangents anyway, right? People, well, here's a fucking thing you see in Warhammer communities. What if the Reapers from Mass Effect were in Warhammer? And everyone's like, the Reapers would get destroyed because, like, in their brain, it's like the Reapers are 1v1ing the Imperium of Man in, like, a straight fight, because I guess these people have never played Mass Effect. The Reapers never just 1v1 anyone. Like, that's not how they fight. They're very stealth-oriented. Now, if we're talking, like, outright blatant fighter power, yeah, of course the Reapers are going to lose to the Imperium. That's not questionable. Like, the biggest Imperium ships are, like, way bigger, and 40K goes crazy with, like, the gun sizes. So, like, yeah, the Reapers are going to lose out as far as, like, projectiles. But people also say, like, oh, the Reaper can't even destroy a planet. But, like, there's visual evidence in Mass Effect that Reapers can totally destroy planets. I think a thing that people forget in Mass Effect lore is that the Reapers are actually trying to reap organic material. Like, they're trying to harvest it. And so they're not trying to leave planets uninhabited. Like, that's not the goal of a Reaper. So could a Reaper just go to a planet and just destroy the whole thing? Absolutely, but that's not what they do. If you let the Reapers fight on the same terms that they do in Mass Effect and you give them all of the same abilities, you would have to assume that the Reapers would send in a singular Reaper into the galaxy of 40K, and then the rest of the Reapers are out in dark space. And so then we have to take into account that, like, the Reapers are, like, country-sized, like, as far as, like, psychics go, like, psychers in the 40K universe. They have massive psychic powers. Even if you kill one, the body of the Reaper still psychically indoctrinates people. And we have to keep in mind that they have, like, massive, like, cyber warfare, like, engagements. Like, and they're capable of, like, taking like biological organisms and like bringing them into their fold and like molding them with their own technology. So like realistically, the Reapers wouldn't launch a straight up attack on the Imperium of Man. It would be like a stealth invasion. And would the Reapers realistically like be the biggest threat to the galaxy, right? Like, are they like Nids or Chaos or Necrons? No, fuck no. But like they wouldn't just die immediately, like a lot of Warhammer fans like to say. Like, they would be a credible threat, probably on level of, like, the Tau. They'd probably be Tau tier, realistically. Like, could they be wiped out? Honestly, the fact that most Reapers exist out in dark space, they probably couldn't be wiped out, because the only species that can enter into dark space are Tyranids, and Necrons, and Orcs in some sources, but that's probably not canon anymore. And so, yeah, so we would have to assume it would either be like a Necron or Tyranid threat. I do think they'd be prime Nid bait, just because they're like biological ships, so I think they would be like just living vats of biomass for the Tyranids. But who doesn't fucking lose to Tyranids, honestly, at this, like, the Tyranids are gonna win as far as Warhammer goes anyway, so, like, who the fuck cares? Like, oh, no, they lose to Tyranid. Oh, so does fucking everyone. Like, that fucking Norn emissary ripped through, like, what was it, like, 3 custodies? Fuck out of here. The Nids just win, baby. The Nids just win. It don't fucking matter. Everyone's bug food. This is a whole lot of nothing to anyone who doesn't know anything about Warhammer. Or Mass Effect, I guess. But fuck it, that's what this show is about. It's about me rambling nonstop for like an hour. Um, Also, I do want to point out that we have seen in Mass Effect that in the Mass Effect 2 DLC that the detonation... I didn't understand shit. That's fine. That's fine. All I want you to take away from this, Sith, all I want you to take away is that whenever you hear a Warhammer fan talk about how overpowered Warhammer 40k is, they're exaggerating. I know they all probably Gojo victims. Ooh! We could talk about that in a second, actually. I think that's an I've never even considered that. That's an interesting topic. But yeah, we've seen in Mass Effect 2 that the detonation of a mass relay causes the explosion of an entire star system. We know that the primary method of transportation for the Imperium of Man is warp travel using Geller fields. So, and that involves literally shooting a ship through what is basically mind hell. And so they don't really have a way to interact with true FTL objects, such as objects undergoing Mass Effect. We also know from Mass Effect 1 that a mass relay is capable of passing through a secondary mass relay, which means that yeah, it's basically hell. It's like mind hell. It's like filled with demons and shit, and then like your thoughts are made manifest, and because the galaxy is constantly at war and everyone's miserable, there's like four demon gods, demon princes. Excuse me. Demon gods, chaos gods, that are like controlling the whole area, creating an endless spawn of what they call is literally infinite demons. Yeah, it's dream hell. It's basically dream. It's a hell of your own creation that like spans literally infinity. They say, although we have no proof of that, they just say it's infinite. But like really, if it was so fucking infinite, why aren't we running into more intergalactic aliens? Are there no other aliens? Is everyone truly bug food? I don't fucking know. The settings just like to throw around the word infinite without fucking knowing goddamn anything about it. But anyway, yeah, so we know a mass relay can pass through another mass relay. We know the detonation of a large-scale mass relay causes a solar system and beyond level explosion. So realistically, if the Reapers wanted to play for keeps and were not using their normal fighting style, they could construct a mass relay in dark space, then pass it through a secondary mass relay, and send that shit on a collision course to Holy Terra, literally blowing up the fucking Golden Throne and ripping a fucking hellhole through the entire galaxy. Would they fight like that? No. But just keep in mind, the next time you hear someone be like, wow, well, 40k versus the fucking Reapers. It'd be like, technically the Reapers could kill humanity at any fucking point, and it would not be a goddamn effort for them. They would never fight like that. Realistically, it would be a stealth invasion, and they'd be a Tau level threat. That's the realist part. Especially because the Reapers would adapt to the new technologies that they'd acquire and the new minds they'd acquire from the galaxy. I don't see them going past Tau level. But, like, yeah, if they wanted to fucking just kill everyone and fight completely in an all-out total war scenario, they fucking could. The only ones I see standing a fucking chance are Nids, because they're biological ships, Necrons, because they're fucking Necrons, and Chaos, because being gigantic, country-sized, fucking psychic monsters is, like, prime Chaos territory. Like, that's fucking, especially, like, the way they fucking work, they could get Zinch tainted so fucking hard. So, anyway, yeah, you want to talk 40k versus Gojo. Let's be real with ourselves. Gojo's got a lot of cool powers. Let's not shit on Gojo too hard here. His big one is that he can, like, pull things in towards him and push things away from him, and then he can do both of them to cause a crushing force with Hollow Purple. People say Hollow Purple deletes matter. It fucking doesn't. It just does not. It literally crushes things between two other things. So, like, don't think that this deals like it's not like a fucking annihilation attack, but it is sizable. It would, like, rip through any real matter viably, unless you're probably, like, got some sort of, like, crazy shielding going on. But, like, whenever you talk about, like, Gojo in a fight, what you've got to overcome is, can you beat Infinity? Which is based off of the Argo problem, where Gojo creates, what is it? Oh, fuck. He causes an infinite deceleration of any hostile force targeting him. So that's, like, the problem with Gojo is that the ability of Infinity is fucking borked. like, like Gojo's infinity power swings way over his own weight class. Like, no one in JJK stands a fucking chance against infinity. It is fucking wild. The only counter you can make towards infinity is if you have some sort of space-time based attack, or you can teleport into Gojo, or you have some way of... You have like an ability, like an attack that can't decelerate, which I literally cannot name a single attack in any fictional setting whatsoever that is incapable of deceleration. Or theoretically, if an attack has to hit, because we know that Maharaga. Yeah, Maharaga. Well, Maharaga changed the nature of its current... This is some fucking JJK spoilers, for the record, for the manga. Maharaga bypassed infinity in two ways, one of which was the space-time attack, which I knew the second I heard about Gojo's ability, I knew space-time attacks would work on him. And it also changed the nature of its cursed energy so that it wouldn't be affected by Gojo's abilities, which is why Sukuna had to duplicate the space-time attack rather than the cursed nature switch, because he's like, I can't fucking do that. Do something different, dumbass. You've read the whole manga. I have vaguely familiarity with the fight, so if you need to issue some corrections, go for it. But yeah, so we know that if you can so like the main challenge is bypassing infinity. Like, Gojo's strong, and he would probably, realistically, Gojo is the second strongest JJK character without infinity. Even without infinity, he's still probably number 2. But, like, with infinity, he's fucking busted. Still number 2. Haha! But, like, no, like, seriously, Gojo's fucking broken. Infinity's crazy. So if you don't have an attack that can bypass infinity, you do not have a way of stopping Gojo. And I'm gonna say, controversially, a lot of people are like, Goku can beat Gojo. The real problem is people always are like, Goku can beat Gojo because he's so fucking strong. But we don't have any evidence to believe that being really strong is like, if we apply the logic of the JJK universe to Gojo's powers and not the abilities attributed to Dragon Ball to Gojo's powers, because why the fuck would you? They're Gojo's powers. Then being really strong is not enough to defy a cursed technique. So, like, yeah, like, being really strong would not prevent Goku, would not allow Goku to hit Gojo. And then people are like, well, he has instant transmission, so he can teleport. And, like, that's great and all, but the problem with Goku teleporting into Gojo is the problem that Goku cannot teleport inside of Gojo. He has to teleport to his vicinity by sensing his ki energy. Now, we've seen Goku sense fucking cockroaches. He can sense Gojo's ki. That's not the fucking question. The problem is he needs the attack to teleport into Gojo, which I don't think Gojo ever mastered the ability to prevent poison from working, so attacks inside of Gojo definitely work. But if Goku can't teleport a Kamehameha into Gojo, he cannot hit Gojo. Now, frankly, I want to be clear, I don't think... we've seen Goku exist inside of a black hole. At base form, as long as he's on his guard, Gojo can't hurt Goku. So they just sort of stalemate. They just sort of stalemate. But yeah, no, Goku physically cannot hurt Gojo, which I do want to point to, because it shows how fucking busted Infinity is a power. Like, you need... you can't be dealing with simple powers when we're talking Gojo. You need a setting with complex abilities, like Hunter x Hunter or JoJo or something like that, if you're gonna talk about fucking with Gojo, just because of how busted Infinity is. Let's see, when Boo turned him to chocolate, but he was, okay, so when Boo turned Gogeta to chocolate, which I'm not going to say that modern Super Goku is not stronger than Boo, but Boo turned Gogeta to chocolate, and then Gogeta kicked his ass while chocolate. So he didn't ignore the ability, he just punched Boo in the face anyway. Yuki Black Hole can put her there, I'd say, to actually Planet Hell. So the thing about the black hole attack is that, like, we don't have reason to believe, like, people like to say, like, because they like to be, like, part of this power scaling community where they like to say one character stronger than another character, so every character can do that. There's no evidence to support that Gojo can actually physically outpace the damage of a black hole. That's just not, like the reason she is able to do that is because of the properties of how a black hole behaves, and not necessarily a property of how strong she is as a character. Like, she's literally working with physics. It's like the difference between how strong someone can punch straight up versus how strong if they put their whole weight into it. It's sort of like a different scenario. So, Also, I would make an argument, and that when you're comparing fictional universes, you should use the logic of the character's abilities that the abilities are being used from, and not use other logic. So we've seen Goku ignore like ki-based powers upon occasion. Even that's relatively rare for him. But Gojo's not based off of ki-based. So you have to keep the logic for Gojo's abilities. Otherwise, you're making Gojo fight in Dragon Ball. And if you want to throw the same argument, you can make Goku fight in fucking JJK, and then he doesn't have cursed energy, so he gets shit on. Like, it's not fair. You gotta let Gojo's abilities function like Gojo's abilities. With Space-Time specifically, we saw someone at Boo's level when he first showed up. Kid Buu, he ripped through infinite space with a hyperbolic lion tamer. Hypertonic lion tamer. He destroyed the dimension of the hypertonic lion tamer, though. He didn't, he didn't bypass infinite distance. We didn't see him reach the end of it. If we saw him reach the end of it, I'd agree with you. But we saw him sort of, break the demi-plane of it. Which I think is a completely different fucking argument. Because shit like that happens all the time in Dragon Ball. Which I would use that more as an argument for Goku could, if we allow Goku's power to just expand outward, you could use that more as an argument for Goku being able to break out of Gojo's domain expansion with his power. But I don't think just being really strong would logically allow Goku to bypass infinity. So, yeah, it's there's no... Because we've never seen Goku travel through infinite distance. People like to cite the Ultra Instinct transformation as Goku being able to send his energy through infinite distance. But that was... First off, that was a statement made by, Top. So in order for that to be true, we have to assume that Top can sense an infinite amount of fucking distance. And also, it's worth noting that, shaking an infinite void, even if it was from a credible source, which it fucking wasn't, it was from Top. It's even if we were to assume that that was credible, that would have been coming from... That's a non-quantifiable statement. We don't know what that fucking means, so you can't apply that logic to anything. So I'm still arguing that I don't think we know any ability that Goku has that would bypass infinity. I think unquestionably Goku is magnitudes fucking stronger than Gojo. I think there's no fucking doubt about that. But what I want to point out with Goku not having an answer to infinity is just how fucking busted infinity is. People genuinely don't understand how fucking broken that power is. There's not a lot of series where you have characters with answers to specifically an infinite deceleration of abilities. So. Anyway, what was the fucking point of this? Oh yeah, does anyone in 40K have the ability to deal with infinite attack deceleration? I mean, theoretically... Alright, I don't think this ever actually comes up in JJK. Technically speaking, any lasgun would bypass Gojo's infinity because light can't decelerate. But I do think that doesn't... I think that's a cheap answer. And so I'm not... Well, actually, no, that's not fully true. Light changes acceleration through a medium. So, arguably speaking, if we view infinity as a medium, then light would decelerate to a point, and therefore infinity would stop laser-based attacks, wouldn't it? That makes sense to me, actually. So, probably if someone has the ability to mentally explode, Psyker could probably beat Gojo. But your average Space Marine, dead. Absolutely dead, for sure. Did I just fucking cut out? What just happened? What's happening? Oh, no. Yeah, your average Space Marine fucking dead. The Emperor could probably do it, but, we're talking about, you would need a Psyker that can, mentally attack your specific brain. Anyone with a physical-based attack, I don't think anyone has an answer to. Necron's probably got some crazy bullshit, but I feel like that's, a hand-wave answer, right? If you have to be oh, the Necron's got some crazy bullshit tag, fuck off. You know what I'm saying? If you can't say specific Necron tech, you fucking eat a dick, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Gojo can mentally defend himself with his domain, can't he? I don't know, because that's where the inner domain is held. He can, okay, yeah, he can, but if like we're specifically talking about like a Gojo's like mental fortitude versus the like God Emperor of mankind, we have no reason to believe. In fact, we have pretty much have every reason to believe that Gojo does not have the mental fortitude to surpass a psychic entity so powerful that his presence is felt almost throughout the entire galaxy at every given point. Because in like 40k, navigation through hell is done through the Emperor's psychic might, broadcasting such a strong light that you can basically be detected everywhere except for the very fringe edges of the galaxy. So, but like I was saying, you would need a very high level psyker, and also like a lot of low level psykers end up just getting fucking fed to the throne anyway. So yeah, I realistically I do agree with you. Like very few 40. I do think, excuse me, that a good amount. I do think there are 40k characters that could beat Gojo, but they would need to create a direct attack on his brain. A lot of go-to psychic attacks are just they shoot fucking lightning. Lightning ain't doing shit to Gojo. Gojo fucking laughs at your fucking lightning bolts. Get out of here with your fucking biomancy smite powers. Gojo doesn't fucking care about you. Infinity is busted as hell. And it's also worth noting that, like, realistically, like, Hollow Purple, maybe not even requiring Hollow Purple. Like, honestly, I think blue or red would probably rip a hole through probably even Space Marine armor. Like, Gojo would do better in 40k than you probably, like, than people would probably think he would. And he would have to run into some real hot hitters. I think anyone that ever bypassed the hive mind could do it, but there's like 4 dudes that did that. I think Magnus could do it. I think the Emperor could do it. But I think there's a very... Malkador, for fucking sure. But, like, I think there's a very short list of 40k characters that could realistically take down Gojo. And not necessarily because I think Gojo is super strong. I just genuinely think Infinity is that fucking busted of a power. Infinity is wild. Oh, there's some Dark Age technology that does bypass space-time. But again, we're talking Dark Age. Like, there's a fucking god machine that, like, can bite a planet in half while also simultaneously attacking reality and biting a hole through reality. That would kill Gojo. But again, if you're dusting off Dark Age technology, what are you fucking doing? You're throwing a fucking bomb at a mouse now. You know what I'm saying? I think he can defend himself psychically from some psychers with his domain's instant hit ability if it worked in his inner domain. Okay, so real talk... If we're talking about Gojo's inner domain, that would fuck up so many people. Like, if he's allowed to get that off, you're basically fucked. Tzeentch would be fine because he's fucking Tzeentch. But, like... again, if we're assuming in the fight that Gojo gets off his fucking domain expansion, like, if we're saying this is a fight... right now, and Gojo opens with domain expansion, if you have not hit the Tyranid hive mind, if you're not one of those, like, psychers that can bypass the hive mind, you're fucking dead. Which is why I am willing to say that, like, realistically, Gojo probably kills, like, 99% of the fucking 40k universe in a 1v1. Like, for sure. Like, throw a fucking... okay, so if we're assuming he opens with the domain expansion, like, initiative turn 1, and you don't get to move, he probably kills basically everyone except for a very, very, very small handful of people. Very small handful of people. And that's just being realistic. If we assume that both characters are... No, he would kill a Krork, which is actually fucking wild to say. He would probably kill a Krork. Well, I guess we don't know how strong a Krork is. A Krork might be able to hit him because a Krork thinks he can hit him. But again, if you're throwing Krorks at people, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing? You're throwing a fucking bomb at a mouse again. So... if you take off his Infinity, he would still be a pretty top-tier threat, though. It is, I think, worth noting for Gojo. Like, because he's, like, fast, he can teleport, like, at a planetary level? That's pretty fucking crazy. He's, like, a greater demon. Like, Gojo's a greater demon without Infinity, and he's, like, a greater demon with Infinity. If he was attacked spiritually, mentally from a psych or something, he could defend his mind with his domain ability. I would say that if someone hits him mentally, chances are his brain is getting so overwhelmed he's not going to have a chance to respond with a domain expansion. And even if he is, he's being assaulted mentally at that exact moment. Like, because his brain is being attacked by someone else's brain, so their brain is already, like, theoretically, if it's enough to take him down, it's already enough to overcome his domain expansion, so I don't think it would matter at that point. I also don't think there's that many psychers that are capable of doing that to him, to be real. Because I think, realistically, he would probably kill most people. It's also one other thing you got to keep in mind is that Gojo is inexhaustible thanks to the 6 eyes. Because why not throw that ability on his ass, right? Gojo's inexhaustible due to the 6 eyes, and he also has, like, mass perception in the area around him. So, like, I am willing to bet that in most scenarios, if Gojo's, like, 6 eyes out and he senses, like, if he's aware that there's a psyker that, like, is coming at him with a fucking plan, there's a good chance that Gojo's like, well, can't let that guy fucking reach me, and just starts spamming the shit out of purple. Which he can. He never does. He can spam the shit out of purple. Because the 6 eyes infinity combo causes his curse energy depletion to be like infinitesimal, doesn't it? Yeah, he's like if he has like 1,000,000 energy, he spends like 1 energy per purple. So like, if I feel like if he felt threatened by most things, he could just spam the shit out of attacks to take him down. Which is why I'm saying 99% of the universe gets fucking shit on by Gojo. I fully agree with what you started with this, that, like, Gojo shits on most of it. The only addendum I'm going to say is I do think there are 40k characters that could beat him. Like I said, who knows with what fucking quirks. Quirks are fucking wild. And, like, there's probably some Necron tech. There's probably some Dark Age tech. Because Dark Age tech, I'm going to also, controversial 40k opinion, 40k tech is stronger than Necron tech. Or, like, Dark Age tech can be stronger than fucking Necron tech. And we've seen examples that they're relatively comparable before, and so, like, the shit we know, like, even the Celestial Orrery is crazy, but, like, I'm gonna argue Dark Age tech at its absolute height can probably outpace Necron tech. And that's a controversial one, and yeah. And I think there's some, like, very top-tier psychers, like Emperor Malkador, who's dead, and Emperor's in a coma, and Magnus, and Tzeentch wouldn't be a fucking problem, but, like, again, I'm throwing a Chaos God at him. So, yeah, no doubt he's had multiple reds and blues at the same time. Yeah, so, like, say there was, like, one ultramarine dude who was able to break through the hive mind. That guy could probably fuck Gojo's brain real hard. But it's also worth noting that if Gojo sees a dude coming at him and he's like, I have a feeling that guy's gonna fuck my brain up, he might just start spamming purple until that entire area has been removed. And it's also worth noting that, like, now, this wouldn't be in character for Gojo, but it's worth acknowledging he could do that. Gojo can basically teleport anywhere in the planet. So Gojo could see a dude that's like, I'm going to fuck your brain up, and Gojo could be like, okay, I'm on the other side of the planet now. Good luck fucking my brain up on the other side of the planet. Again, the Emperor could do it, but, like, if you're throwing the Emperor at a dude, what are you fucking doing? That's not a fucking fight at that point. So, yeah. So, yeah, I'm actually with you. The takeaway from this fucking hour, not to mention Gojo's speed is probably way faster, even just reaction-wise. There's a good solid chance on that. Yeah, because, Sukuna can keep up with, what's his fucking face? The lightning dude? So it's at least lightning level, which is actually, hold on. Well, okay, definitely stronger than your average Space Marine. There's some fucking crazy feats, because, like, Psychers shoot lightning out, and lightning's not always at the same time. You know what, I don't like using lightning as a speed, but, fuck it. But yeah, Gojo's pretty fast. Gojo's faster than your average Space Marine. I'll say that. For sure, Gojo's faster than your average Space Marine. How would he compare? I don't think we have, like, hard evidence to support how he would fare compared to, like, a Custodes or a Primarch or whatever. But again, if you're throwing in Custodes, which are like 1 of 10,000 guards of the Emperor, or you're throwing in Primarchs, of which there are like 20, already Gojo's in, like, top tier, like, 40k. Like, Gojo's top tier in 40k for sure. For sure. There's no doubt about that. I don't think he's untouchable. I have heard people claim that the Emperor of Mankind can kill any fictional character. That's a fucking lie, outright. But he can beat Gojo for sure. But Gojo would be up fucking here. Gojo would be up fucking here. There is no question in my mind. Even without Infinity, Gojo would still be pretty strong in the 40k universe. And with Infinity, fuck off. Like, the man's a greater demon with Infinity for sure. Sukuna and Gojo are completely different levels compared to everyone else in the verse. I would say way higher than Lightning, but not Light. Yeah. Not gonna lie, Superman might go. Superman... So the problem is Superman is written very inconsistently. So Superman at his weakest gets shit on in 40k, and Superman at his strongest is untouchable. It's untouchable. There's not a fucking Superman at his absolute strongest could fly into the warp and just beat the living shit out of fucking Saint and just put him in a fucking coma. Zero effort. So Superman's hard to talk about how strong he is, because he's a character with like 100 years of comic book history, and it's written by like 3 million people. Because he's the hero and here's I don't like using that logic, because you could use the same logic that like you could use the same logic that like the Emperor never loses a fight in 40k, therefore the Emperor beats Superman. But we've seen Superman lose fights before, like in the Dark Knight Returns, where Batman beats him. So therefore the Emperor could be like, I don't like using like narrative logic like that. But like, yeah, Superman at his strongest is the strongest character in 40k. Like, straight up. Like, you wouldn't even need him at his strongest. You would only need him at his... Well, if we're not counting Chaos Gods, you would only need him at his, like, mediumist. Realistically. Like, I think even medium-level Superman could probably beat the Emperor. Which is fucking crazy. I'm just trolling. Okay, yeah. Like, Superman's a different fucking talk. Superman kills Goku, for the record. While we're on the topic of, like, Goku doesn't have an answer to Gojo, fucking Superman... Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Not that I like shit. My only issue with Goku, not that he's like my favorite Dragon Ball character, my issue with Goku is more this perception that he's the strongest fictional character ever written. And then, like, if you write down on a piece of paper every Dragon Ball character, not just fictional character, every Dragon Ball character, then Goku, and you count fused characters, Goku is not even in the top 20 of his own verse. Because Zeno's stronger than him, every Angel's stronger than him, every fused character stronger than him, there's the fucking nonsense with Black Frieza, you know what I'm saying? So, like, there's Beerus, for example. So, like, Gojo, like, no one's talking like, I don't want to say, like, Goku's weak. Goku's stronger than 99% of every fictional character, probably. But, like, he's not even the strongest character in Dragon Ball. So, like, one thing that bugs me with Goku is people being like, Goku's the strongest fictional character ever made. And, bitch, no. He's not even the strongest Dragon Ball character. He's not even the strongest Dragon Ball character. Get the fuck out of here. Also, Vegeta beat him, and also Gohan beat him. Recently. I like Super Saiyan 2. Dog, Super Saiyan 4 is so fucking good. Super Saiyan 4 is so good. I'm glad Daima brought it back. I have not seen Daima, but everyone knows that they brought it back for Daima, and I'm so fucking glad. Super Saiyan 4 is so cool. Superman 4 is so much cooler than Ultra Instinct or fucking Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, or Super Saiyan God. It's just so fucking swag. It's so cool that even Akira Toriyama was like, yeah, I wish I made that. It was so awesome. It's so cool. It was the best thing that came out of GT. By fucking far. Love Super Saiyan 4. Yes, it had aura. It's also, I like that it calls back to, one, that brief sort of like non-canon shot that we get from the legendary Super Saiyan back from the original Dragon Ball Z anime, and it calls back to Goku's Saiyan heritage. Like, it makes sense in concept, because it's a power that originates from Goku's heritage as a Saiyan, and I guess Vegeta's heritage as a Saiyan. Like, it makes sense in context, whereas Super Saiyan God's like, there was once a guy and 7 pure-hearted Saiyans came together and fused his power. Like, bitch, get the fuck out of here. Super Saiyan 4 is like, yeah, I turned Super Saiyan as a monkey. That's my gimmick. And also Blitz Waves are involved. I hated when they motherfucker said Kaba beats Super Saiyan 4. People didn't use their brains. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. We did it, everyone. We drank the Long Island iced tea. I actually do like the, what is it, Universe 6 Sans. I do like the Universe 6 Sans. I do like them as a concept. I do like this, like, what if Sans were peaceful universe. I wish they had fucking tails. Um, and I like that we finally got Lady Super Saiyans, because I remember one of the things that, like, Toriyama said is, like, the reason we never got a female Super Saiyan is because he was like, well, I don't know what a female Super Saiyan would look like. And everyone else was like, what the fuck are you talking about, Toriyama? People have been making fan art of female Super Saiyans for fucking decades. So, but, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But, like, yeah, I think you really sum it up. Like, Super Saiyan 4, beyond everything else, has aura. And it really feels like Dragon Ball Super Onward. No, before that, Battle of Gods Onward has really just become Super Saiyan but plus color. Right? Literally. If you remember, they renamed Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, because that's the stupidest name of all time, to Super Saiyan Blue. And then, what's his face? Zamasu had Super Saiyan Rose. These are literally colors. They renamed them. They just gave them color names. Oh, God. I liked Super, though. I did like Super. I know not everyone liked Super. I like Super. All right, so my question is, we're hitting up on this. Are we going for Margarita or Bahama Mama? What am I drinking next? I'm feeling a margarita. Yeah, don't fuck with Reese and shit. So my thing is, I actually liked the Super anime. Controversial opinion, I fucking love Jiren. I love Jiren so much. He might... I really do like a Gohan, but I don't like what the Super did with Gohan, if that makes any sense. Like, Gohan was my favorite character throughout all of Z, but then, like, what Super has done with Gohan, where he's like, I'm weak now, which doesn't make any sense, because he got, like, super weak in, like, 6 months, 8 months, I think, during Resurrection F. Like, he was super strong, he was, like, the strongest person in the world, and then in 8 months he got weak in, like, Resurrection F. It's fucking stupid. And then he's like, I'm going back to training. And that's what they did during the, like, Tournament of Power arc. And then we see him again in the movie, Superhero, and he's weak again. And then he's like, but I'm going back to training in Superhero. And it's like the same arc, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like, if Gohan wants to give up fighting and become a scholar, that's cool. I'm fine with that character arc. That makes sense. If Gohan wants to become a fighter again, I'm cool with that character arc. If Gohan wants to middle row it and do both, I'm fine with it. What I'm not fine with is the decision that Super made to make a Gohan ping pong between both things, where he's like, suddenly he's weak, then he's the strongest, then he's the weak, then he's suddenly the strongest. Because it creates this sort of, like, frustrating situation where you get the idea that the creators don't know what they're fucking doing with Gohan, and they're not willing to invest enough in the character to just decide. Right? Like, it also creates this implication that Gohan could easily, like, throughout all these, like, years of Goku and Vegeta training, that Gohan could just be the strongest if he ever, for even the briefest amount of time, felt like it. And as much as I love Gohan, I do think that's a very bad precedent to set, that the only reason the strongest character in Dragon Ball is not Gohan is because Gohan hasn't decided to be the strongest character in Dragon Ball. I do think that's kind of shitty. Did you see what they did to Tien? My God, he should have been the strongest human, but he's fodder. Everyone's just fodder. I'm going to pull this one out. But actually, if you pay attention to the events in Dragon Ball, the strongest human at the end of Dragon Ball is Yajirobe. And I want you to name a character that got shit on harder than Yajirobe. I will admit that Tien kept training and Yajirobe just sort of, like, fucked off, but also, like, if we're talking about, like, humans that were done dirty by the Dragon Ball setting, why did Yajirobe just fuck off? Like, Yajirobe should have been outpacing everyone. Like, Yajirobe should be where Krillin is, if we're being real. Because keep in mind that Tien lost to one of, like, Piccolo's kids during the King Piccolo arc. And that same fucking, like, Piccolo kid, what was his name? Like, fucking some fucking woodwind instrument. I don't accordion. It was not accordion. Cello? I don't remember. Like, Yajirobe just, like, fucking demolished him, like, effortlessly. Like, Yajirobe, when he first appeared, was, like, stronger than fucking Goku. And then the next thing we see is, like, the Saiyan arc, and Yajirobe, like, cuts off Vegeta's tail, which was, honestly, at that point, we could probably still make an argument that Yajirobe was still stronger than Tien. But, like, from that point on, Yajirobe does jack shit because he basically retires from being a fighter from that point on. And then that's where you get the idea of, like, Tien versus Cell. So I think there's an argument, like, post Saiyan arc that, like, yeah, Tien should probably have been the strongest human, for sure. What instrument is accurate? And I don't remember what it was. It wasn't accordion, it wasn't cello, it was like a fucking... what was that fucking dude's name? What was that guy? Fuck it, I'm gonna look it up. What was that guy's name? DBZ, guy who killed Krillin. I'm gonna get fucking Frieza. If I type in DBZ, guy who killed Krillin, I'm getting Frieza. Krillin. Who fucking killed Krillin? Who killed you, Krillin? Come on, who the fuck killed you, Krillin? It was... Then stood business as Cell. That was, like, such a fucking cool scene. Honestly, that's one of the best scenes in all of Dragon Ball, is that fucking, fucking Kikoku. Fucking, I can't say Tri-Beam. Tri-Beam. The Tri-Beam scene was so fucking cool. Who killed you? My dog? Who fucking murdered you? Excuse me. He was killed... Would you believe the Dragon Ball Wiki is not telling me who fucking killed this man? You think that would be an important part of the series, but somehow, apparently, him dying wasn't part of this. Oh, here we go. Here we go. King Piccolo Saga. He was killed by... Come on. Who fucking killed you? Who killed you? Who fucking killed you? Okay, this is bullshit. I should be able to find out who killed this man. Fuck off with this. Who killed you? Tambourine. His name was Tambourine. Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah, Yajirobe just fucking bodied the shit out of Tambourine, who killed Krillin and effortlessly beat Tien Shinhan. Like, Yajirobe, when he was introduced, was probably the strongest character, and then Goku, like, ate a meal and then trained for, like, half a second and then was stronger than fucking Yajirobe. But, like, when he was first introduced, Yajirobe was the strongest character in the series, outside of, like, King Piccolo. That doesn't taste like a margarita. What does that taste like? What the fuck is that? It's a lightly salty flavor. I'm not getting the lime in this. It's just... It's like salt soda? That's fucking weird. It's just salt soda. That's not very good. Anyway, yeah, so let's talk about the day. Oh, shit. Yeah. Anyway, yes, Yajirobe, done dirty, envoy of hope. What does it mean? Oh, I actually, okay, so the title, Sacrabalic, your envoy of hope, actually comes from my 100th video I made back on my gaming channel. That video is still there. It was I imported a copy of Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax from Japan. I played the Japanese copy of it during my 100th video to celebrate my 100th upload on the original Sacrabalic channel. And the tagline of that game was "Choose Your Envoy of Hope." And so I started calling myself Your Envoy of Hope ever since that video. I think they actually later ported a version of that game. I think they localized a version of that game into English because I saw it at a GameStop at one point. But at the time, it was like the most expensive game I'd ever played because I imported it from Japan from like fucking $90. And now like every game is $90. But it was a landmark thing at that moment. So really, it's just taken from like an obscure Dengeki Bunko fighting game that like no one gives a shit about. Sounds heroic. Thank you. Anyway, Dragon Ball was formational on my anime watching because it was like one of the first anime I watched on Toonami. Like I used to watch Dragon Ball growing up, Dragon Ball Z specifically growing up, and yeah, so I do have a soft spot for Dragon Ball Z. It's like hardly my favorite anime anymore, but like I have opinions on it. So, but yeah, glad you like the title. I stole it. I wish I had like a cool story, but like no, I stole it. Um, we should probably at some point talk about fucking Space Marine. Did we talk about how? I think we talked about every character versus. I think we talked about every character versus 40k. Yeah. Anyway, the main takeaway I want to do is that like Goku, like Superman kills everyone in 40k if he's like even mid-tier level Superman because there's a million Supermans. Goku's stronger than basically everyone in 40k except for probably the Chaos Gods, and Gojo's stronger than like I'll probably steal. I mean, do what you got to. All right, I stole it. I can't be like, no, don't do that. Uh, an envoy, if we're looking like the traditional definition, an envoy is basically like a messenger or like a herald, like one who foretells the coming of, and then everyone knows hope. So it'd be like the bringer of hope or the foreteller of hope. The herald of hope is essentially what the literal meaning of it is. I don't know if you wanted the literal meaning also, but I'd throw it out there. I don't think people use the word envoy very often anymore in the fucking 21st century. And then yeah, Gojo kills like 99% of 40k. Anyway, this is about a dude named Titus. I want to say Titus, who's like a captain of the Ultramarines, who is one of my favorite Space Marine chapters because they're so generic and so vanilla. During an orc war on a sort of a foundry world or whatever the fuck they call it, factory world, machine world, whatever. It's a world they make bullshit. And yeah, eventually he's there to like rescue an Inquisitor who is working on some warp-based technology. And then eventually the warp-based technology leads to the invasion of a Chaos Legion. As far as the game goes, combat-wise, it's actually pretty entertaining. It's an over-the-shoulder third-person shooter where you switch up your guns, but your guns are actually basically linear upgrades most of the time. I actually did have my preferences as it goes on. But one thing I will say is towards the end of the game, the last fourth of the game, when the Chaos Space Marines show up, they end up replacing the primary threat of the games from orcs to being Chaos Space Marines and I want to say Bloodletters? The problem with they're like Khornite demons, but the problem with Khorn demons in 40k. Have you ever played Crisis? I have not played Crisis. I have heard of it. Some dude with power armor, I think, is the idea. And then it's really hard to write because the creator, like, to run Crisis 1 because the creators wanted to future-proof it, but they future-proofed it in the wrong direction. So it's, like, really hard to play. Although I bet I could probably play it on my PC. My PC's a little outdated from when I bought it, because when I bought it, it was crazy, but it's also, like, fucking 10 years old now. So it's, like, it can still play any modern game, but I'm confident it can play fucking Crisis at this point. But like, not necessarily at, like, the highest settings anymore. So I want to upgrade my graphics card. Because when I made my PC, because I custom built it, when I made my PC, the fucking specs were crazy, and they're, like, lower end now, 10 years later. But I think it would still be pretty... I think it would still be pretty decent if I swapped out the graphics card. Hold this follow. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, yeah. One thing I will say about Space Marine is that they, about a quarter of the way through the game, they swap out the orc enemies with Chaos Space Marines, and I want to say Bloodletters. The problem with Khorn is that it's super... I think the, like, strongest Khorn demon, I think the greater demon of Khorn is a Bloodthirster. I think a Bloodletter is, like, a minor Chaos demon of Khorn. I think it's, like, a weak shit-tier Khorn demon. Don't quote me on that. I'm actually getting hit harder by this alcohol than you would have expected me to. Surprisingly, I've been for how much alcohol I've consumed on stream. Surprisingly enough, that fucking iced tea hit me a little hard. You gotta piss. You doing a little dance? No, I just have a nervous tick where I walk back and forth. Also, I stand actually when I stream, so I'm just waving my hips back and forth because it's fun because I'm dizzy because of the alcohol. Um, I'll try and stop, but I won't. Also, I lied. I don't think I'm going to try and stop. I said I was going to try and stop, but I'm not going to. I'm fucked up. I'm not quite fucked up yet, but I'm getting there. I'm actually more drunk than I thought from that singular iced tea, surprisingly enough. But anyway, yeah. So in this game, the enemies shoot missiles at you fucking constantly from the orcs. Like, so much missiles get shot at you throughout the entire game that honestly the fact that it's like specifically Space Marines and Khorne demons means that they switch to melee, and it actually the game becomes easier in the last fourth of the game because Khorne demons don't like ranged weaponry. So it becomes easier because you can just shoot them in the face. So I've never been so fucking thankful for a demon invasion than in the last section of this game. Famously, spoiler warning, spoiler, for fucking Space Marine. At the end of the game, this dude, one of your like squad mates, I want to say his name is Leandros, ends up turning Titus into the Inquisition, and then because Titus was resistant to chaos corruption. And so Leandros is like, this is what the Codex Astartes says to do, which was, of course, made by absolute best Primarch boy, Rabute Gilliman. Where can I watch your gameplay? So I stream pretty much 99% of the content I make is on Twitch, on this channel right now, and then the VODs are uploaded on a combination of a channel called Sacrabalic and the Forbidden Archives, although I've been using that channel less often now that YouTube lets me just edit out the content live. But I did not stream this game live. The game we're currently playing on stream is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. So there's a good number of years of content like VODs uploaded back on the old Sacrabalic channel. A lot of the old original Let's Plays I made when I made the channel have been cleared out. Just because I said some stuff that I don't fully agree with at the time, because I was like a teenager when I started making videos, and we all grow and evolve as time goes on, and if you haven't like changed as a person in like 10 years, the fuck are you doing with your life? You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, if you want like the VODs, the general channel to look for is just called Sacrabalic. The specific reason the Forbidden Archives, the Shouting Through the Chorus channel is not called that. It's because I already had like a channel called that. It's the one with the more subscribers. The one with the less subscribers is also me, but it was my original YouTube channel I created in 2008 that I only used to watch videos on. So, and you're never going to get a video on that unless I fuck up and accidentally upload a video onto that, in which case I'll just delete that video. So there's no reason to look at the lesser subscribed Sacrabalic channel. The only important one is the big one that uses the icon from Akiba Strip on Dead and Undressed. So, but anyway, yeah, so the fact that Khorne is like so primarily melee focused, it really actually makes the last quarter of the game super easy, and the betrayal from Leandros, from Titus at the end of the game, where you end up getting abducted by the Inquisition, sort of, like, if, for the record, this is a very bad ending for Titus, because in Warhammer, the motto of the Inquisition is innocence proves nothing. So if you think like Titus is getting away easy, like even though he's like completely innocent and guilt-free throughout the scenario, they tortured the fucking shit out of him before they sent him into, from what I've seen from cutscenes from the second game, Deathwatch. Although I haven't started the second game, because I'm still in the same fucking Stellaris playthrough. You're not getting an update on my Stellaris playthrough. Just know that, like, because I play on, like, the largest possible galaxy size, that I've basically won, and it's just about actually winning at this. Like, it's over, but the crying takes fucking forever because I'm micromanaging my fucking planets at this point. So, who fucking cares about that? Anyway, this game is actually kind of fun. The jetpack things in this game you think would be fun, but mostly it just involves jumping and then slamming and jumping and slamming and doing slam attacks. And like there's some weird puzzles. And the orcs with their fucking missiles through the first 3/4 of the game are actually kind of annoying. I have this thing where I'm just like not very good at pressing buttons very fast. I can do it. I believe I've taken tests before, and it shows I'm slightly above average on button pressing speed. But what you have to do to like melee a really strong orc in this game is beyond my capability of pressing the button fast. Which is actually kind of ironic that the largest orcs in this game are harder to melee than Chaos Space Marines, because the Chaos Space Marines, again, in this are Khorne-based, which is all about melee combat. So you think the Space Marines would be harder to melee, but they're actually easier to melee than the orcs. So, who fucking knows? But yeah, the game is actually pretty good. I definitely enjoyed my time with it. It's like a solid 7 out of 10. Will I ever play it again? No, because I don't generally play video games again. I guess they're very highly rated. But it was definitely enjoyable, and I could definitely recommend it to people. I should drink water. I'm like, maybe it's because I haven't had alcohol in a while, or I'm like, I need to hold off. It's like hitting me weirdly hard, if that makes any sense. Like I'm going through it. I need to switch to my other beverages for a little bit. Normally I drink all the way through the stream, but like I don't think we're at like I don't think we're at TOS violation levels. But we're skirting weirdly close. I'm surprised this is hitting me this hard. I probably should have eaten more before we started this stream. So. Okay. I think we're done with Space Marine. Moving on to the music podcast portion. We've jumped through like a million fucking layers. I didn't do anything this month. I'm sorry. I listened to the, what the fuck is this called? The Death of Slim Shady Coup de Grace by Eminem. Finally, we're done listening to Eminem music. We're finally at the other end of Eminem. I can stop listening to Eminem. Excuse me. And I can move on to other artists now as I go through my journey through rap music. Yeah, so this album was not very good. This seems like Eminem wanted to make an album where he said the most controversial things he could while doing it under the veneer of pretending to be Slim Shady, while also trying to put the persona of Slim Shady that he raps on to bed. But like it's done with weirdly zero self-awareness. It's like weirdly bad album. Like during the early parts of this album, for example, he uses audio from South Park, specifically the episode Safe Space, which is an episode dedicated to sort of making fun of the concept of Twitter safe spaces, where people would like create echo chambers where they didn't have to worry about dissenting opinions. But about 50% of this album is also dedicated to Eminem complaining that people didn't like his last several albums or his new rapping style. So and at first I thought he was aware that he was doing this. Like, at first I thought he was doing this ironically, and he was aware of how fucking silly it is to complain about people on Twitter being mean to him, while also complaining about people on Twitter complaining about people being mean to them. But, it's like, the moment the song literally after that was him just, like, doing it unironically. And I genuinely think that with zero level of self-awareness, Eminem is just using this to say that the people who complain about him on Twitter are also the same type of people that complain about things on Twitter without realizing that he, in himself, is also complaining about things on Twitter. It's like this weird scenario where like Eminem is unaware of the fact that he's literally complaining about his own complaints in his music. It's like weird. It lacks like super amounts of self-awareness. And then another weird, bizarre point is like midway through this album, Eminem has a song where it is him addressing Slim Shady, and the concept of the song is that Slim Shady has kidnapped the real Marshall Mathers and is levying criticisms to Marshall Mathers. And any criticism you could have to Eminem as a person, as far as like his musical history goes through, is basically presented by Slim Shady in this, other than the absolute complete misfire of the safe space argument that I just made. Whether it's the fact that like Eminem likes to hide behind the persona of Slim Shady when he's making music, being like, that's not me, that's Shady, or the fact that like the Slim Shady persona is where Eminem got to in his rap career and he wouldn't exist without him, or his like controversial video like songs in the past, like that one like oddly racist rap song he made in the past when he like was like disgruntled about a former girlfriend. Any criticism you could levy against Eminem is essentially brought up in this argument with Slim Shady in this video. And instead of refuting Slim Shady, Eminem instead breaks out of his restraints and kills Slim Shady. And the fact that there's no refutation to the character of Slim Shady in the concept of this concept album where he kills Slim Shady can only lead me to the belief that Slim Shady is, almost by Eminem's own admission, actually correct in all of his arguments against Eminem. It's like, and also this occurs midway through the album, which is another weird decision for an album referred to as The Death of Slim Shady. It's very much similar to the Tyler, the Creator album Goblin, except for, and I almost hate to say this, Goblin was done like way, way better because the fucking Wolf Haley reveal wasn't done until the end of Goblin, whereas the Slim Shady reveal was done midway through, and then the songs done throughout the remainder of this album were incredibly fucking generic, like incredibly generic. And one of the songs is a letter to Eminem's children, where he like talks about like when he's dead, and so like it's like a sort of letter to his kids after he's dead, and it's one of those songs where it's like pretty generic all the way through. And it touches on similar vibes to a similar Eminem album, which was from fucking like it almost seems like it's like biting off of the album of the song "Lose Yourself" from from the film from the soundtrack of 8 Mile. Yeah, like Eminem did the same song like fucking 10 years earlier. No, 20. Eminem did the same song 20 years earlier in Lose Yourself, and it was better when he did Lose Yourself. So, like, there's some, like, okay-ish rap songs, but the problem is with the rap songs towards the end of this album is that, like, Eminem's not even the best artist on those rap songs towards the end of this album. So, yeah, I can see why this is not a very well-regarded Eminem album. It's just not very good, and it sort of undermines itself at every fucking point. And I think the best part about getting through The Death of Slim Shady Coup de Grace is at the very least we can move on to other artists now. So, anyway, whoop, we're done. Eminem, The Death of Slim Shady Coup de Grace. Moving on. Okay, so I went ahead and checked out Tyler, the Creator, Chromacopia. I have no fucking idea why this alcohol is hitting me so hard, but holy shit is it hitting me so hard. Okay, so Tyler, the Creator comes back using the similar sounds he used to Igor, where he's sort of going with a neo-soul vibe. The opening to this album goes super fucking hard, and he like sort of hits like some type rap beats, but he definitely mixes in that more like Igor vibe, like that more Igor vibe neo-soul sort of style that he did. And I will say, as far as that goes, I definitely preferred Igor, which seemed to stay on like more of a topic, whereas Chromacopia seems to be sort of like a vibe. So, as far as like Tyler's albums go, it's like far from my favorite. I don't have a lot to say about it, other than like I don't think it's Tyler's best work. It was enjoyable enough, but it's not one of those like albums I'll be revisiting over and over again, like I would with such as like an Igor or a Call Me If You Get Lost. But it's a solid album. Tyler delivers, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, there we go. Tyler, Chromacopia. Like I said, I didn't have a lot to say about this. We're moving on to the next. I thought I turned that off. Moving on to the next topic. I finished watching mostly the rest of this podcast, other than Dartboard, is just going to be D&D podcasts at this point. I finished watching Critical Role's Campaign 3. You will notice missing from here is Breas, but that's okay. No big deal. Yeah, what did I think about Campaign 3? I actually liked Campaign 3 more than most Critical Role fans liked Campaign 3. I will say that I enjoyed it more than Campaign 2, which controversially is my least favorite of the Critical Role campaigns. And there's some arguments, like there's a long period of time where the party gets split up, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Marisha was prepping for the IDubbbz boxing event at one point during I think there was like an in-universe reason for why the party got split up. It's because of Marisha boxing and the IDubbbz event. But regardless, it felt pretty, like, I enjoyed the characters. I'm usually not a big fan of Marisha's characters, but like right there, her character, whose name I'm almost too drunk to remember. Fuck, what was her name? Bells. Hells. I think it ends with an Why am I so drunk? I can't believe I'm this drunk. Laudna. Yeah, Laudna was the best character of this campaign by far. I know a lot of people liked fucking Fresh Cut Grass, but like, no, Laudna fucking stole the show for me. I loved Laudna. Laudna was the best, like, creepy dead girl with like issues with Delilah Briarwood, who like really sort of to come into her own during this campaign. I enjoyed the characters. I liked that there was like a main narrative focus, which was one of my main issues with Campaign 2, was that it was too character focused, to the point where it felt like characters were just speed running their own character plot lines and not at all focusing on a main narrative. And I like the fact that this sort of brought us into a main narrative focus and allowed the story to explore the main narrative focus, even though it sort of like tapered off and didn't allow the characters to explore themselves. Which is why I would still say probably Campaign 1 is probably my favorite of the Critical Role like campaigns. But I at least enjoyed it more than Campaign 2, controversially. But I will say a lot of people who came into Critical Role came into Campaign 2, so I think there's this sort of bias towards Campaign 2 in the first place, especially since it was definitely rougher. I also say that I think Matt has a lot more of a grasp on the concept of 5th edition in this than he did in the previous editions, and I struggle to recall a ruling he made in this that I didn't necessarily agree with. The worst he got is towards the end, where he created an enemy that keeps rolling attacks until they miss, which is fucking insane and busted and broken. But I will also say that I think Matt knew it was insane and busted and broken. Like, I don't think he created that character, like that enemy, without knowing that someone was gonna fucking die. Is the thing. And someone, I believe, did die to that. So Excuse me. Holy shit. Anyway, yes, Campaign 3 wasn't the best D&D show I've ever seen, obviously, but it was a pretty solid watching experience, and I think it gets way too much hate from Critical Role fans, which, as of always, I am just on the other side of. I'm not part of the fold on that. Not out of intention, but out of choices. So, moving on. I went ahead and watched Dimension 20's Misfits and Magic. They brought back the whole crew. We got on to season 2. This one is about repairing magic and also repairing the group dynamic that fractured at the ends of the Christmas special and the original Misfits and Magic. So we get to see the characters in their 20s sort of reconnecting with each other while also sort of repairing the damage of magic because it is falling apart because magic was revealed to the entire world. I think they did a lot of really good character work. I think the plot in this was left a little bit to be desired, but overall, I thought this was a pretty enjoyable campaign. And do I have much to say about this? I think I kind of don't. I think the ending was a little too upbeat, where every character got to decide what they wanted for the future of Magic, and I think it leaves very little room for expansion, because a lot of it was like very mushy-gushy shit that I'm not sure how would functionally work in an actual Magic system, but as a finale to the series, I guess it was okay, but I would have liked a little more reconciliation in that regard, and maybe a little more plot focus. It was very emotionally heavy as far as the season goes, but otherwise very enjoyable. Not the greatest D&D show I've ever watched, because this wasn't even D&D. This is like Kids on Bikes, I believe. But yeah, no, it was a pretty solid series. Was it better than the first season? I don't know. Maybe comparable to the first season. But it was good to see a revival of it, and I'm glad I watched it. So, moving on to wow, we're firing through these things. Which is good, because I'm getting progressively drunker as we're going. Dimension 20, Mentopolis. All right. So this is starring one of the Vlog brothers, which I want to say is Hank Green. It is, in fact, Hank Green. There we go. You know, actually, fun fact, I used to watch the Vlog brothers when I was in school. And I sort of stopped, but I still occasionally check out usually Hank's stuff, but I used to be subscribed to their main YouTube channel. I don't know if they still make vlogs. I assume they do. They've sort of created a media empire at this point. Anyway, so from what I can understand, the concept of this season was basically like a play on that movie Inside Out, where every character plays some sort of mental aspect of a character's mind, but it's the mind of a crazy scientist who's working on a mind control device in a sort of evil corporate setting, because all of Brennan's villains are capitalism. He says it's capitalism. Really, it's usually corporatism, but who fucking cares? I'm not here to defend capitalism as a concept. I'm here to talk about the lovely, wonderful setting of Mentopolis. Honestly, I wish I would have had more to say about this. I saw a lot of trailers about this, and I think Hank did a pretty good job, and the Trap did pretty good, and this person who was also in oh, my mouse is invisible, who was also in Never Stop Blowing Up. I think everyone did a good job. I liked everyone's characters, but I think, but overall, I felt like I wasn't super engaged with the story overall. One of the key aspects of the story was they were trying to find the 4 fight or flight responses, which is fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. And every aspect progresses the narrative as they find people to progress the mind control plot line. And I thought that was kind of cool. But usually when they weren't doing that, the story sort of like fell, I think, in my mind to the wayside. Although they kept using the name Stacy fake name for a character, and that was fucking delightful. I loved when I loved when Siobhan introduced herself as Stacy fake name, as though that might be a fake persona. I thought that was delightful. So it was okay of a season, but if we're talking about the 3 seasons we watched so far, it is definitely the weakest of the seasons. Ugh, excuse me. There we fucking go. All right, baby, let's fucking get it. All right, so it is time for the final segment of the entire show. Hope everyone had fun. We're about to get onto it. I'm going to cut out this entire dialogue when I upload the fucking VOD onto the anime channel. Here we go. It is, of course, time for Anime Dartboard, the show where we collectively watch as a book club a maximum of 350 minutes asterisk anime that has been English dubbed. Excuse me. And this by month, we have watched Jubi-chan, the Ninja Girl Secret of the Lovely Eye Patch. Excuse me, which of course everyone watched. Great job. What did you all think of Jubi-chan? Oh, fascinating. I completely disagree. I think you're silly. Okay. I actually think so Jubi-chan was surprisingly decent, is what I will say about it. I wasn't expecting to like it quite as much. There is a season 2. I will say I have not watched season 2. I will watch season 2 if someone is watching the VOD of this on the Sunday that this gets uploaded. I am intending, and we'll see if I actually succeed, to upload the season 2 review on Wednesday. But currently, as of recording this, I have not seen season 2 yet, because this is usually done a month in advance. So we'll see how that shakes out. I'm a few weeks ahead on my upload schedule. But yeah, as far as Jubi goes, I would like to point out that the specific instructions for the samurai was that matches the same usage, like the same word use as the unrefined delinquent that ends up following the main character, that ends up following Jubi-chan. And I would have thought that would have come into play at some point, because it seems like the badum that the main character, that the samurai was looking for to pass his skills on to, was actually supposed to probably go to the unrefined delinquent, where it instead went to Jubi-chan, and they never ended up playing with that. I wonder if season 2 will play with that, but they never played with that in season 1, and I was a little surprised. And let's see what else. I will say that the action sequences in the show I thought were pretty weak, and I wasn't the biggest fans of them. I think they weren't very well developed. I did think what they did with the side characters was at least sort of interesting, and I think that the underpinning relationship between the main character and the dad was kind of interesting. I am disappointed that, because admittedly I forgot that the girl that the dad was trying to romance was actually married to the other guy, and so it was a little sad that that relationship ended up not working for him, because I think they do a solid enough job of making you appreciate the dad in the anime. Do I have anything else to say? I really don't. I think I'm too drunk to give any better review of Jubi-chan than I have currently given. So that's honestly okay. I think I'm good. Oh, I do find it interesting that they made the apprentice of the samurai super dumb. And because he seems a lot more competent in the opening series, and then they decided to make him surprisingly dumb. I don't know. I think there was a little bit of a comedic aspect to the show that I wasn't fully expecting. It was sort of delivered in a different way. I will say that I watched this like 3-ish weeks ago, and a combination between the time I watched this and how drunk I currently am, out of nowhere, surprisingly enough, has led me incapable of delivering a more biting and insightful commentary. So it's a good thing everyone else watched it, and it's a good thing everyone is going to tell me their opinions, because everyone loves Anime Dartboard. Haha. All right, I think we're probably good to move on. I don't think anyone else has any last minute things to say about Anime Dartboard. So let's go ahead and pick our new dart. All right, here we go on Wheel of Names. Let's shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And what do we got, baby? Oh, shit, it's the Ashita no Joe movie. God, my eye is twitching. All right, let's go. Ashita no Joe movie. Ba 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 ba. This came out in 1980, an abridged remake of the Ashita no Joe TV series released in 1980 to provide backstory for the second TV series to new fans who were not familiar with the first TV or the manga. If you remember, during the Eternal Sacking Mal episode where we addressed the 1980s, I added this because I didn't want to watch the original fucking 100, the original 79 episode anime. I didn't want to watch a 79 episode anime, so I added Is That Megalobox? It's like what Megalobox is based off of originally. Like Ashita no Joe was inspired by Megalobox, so yeah, I originally added this because I didn't want to watch a 79 episode anime, so I was like, hey, we're gonna watch this. we're gonna watch. I'm gonna watch this instead of watching a 79 episode anime, and then if I like it, I'll go back and watch the actual anime because I could not be fucking bothered to watch 79 episodes of a show. So let's see who made this. Mushi Production made this, and they also made Belladonna of Sadness, the original 1969 Dororo. The Moomin Show. They made Cleopatra. Looks like they made Astro Boy. 1001 Arabian Nights. Morishita no Joe. They made a lot of Osamu Tezuka films, it seems like. They did a lot of Osamu Tezuka. Is this just Osamu Tezuka's stuff? Mushi Production? Huh. Yeah, it's a lot of Osamu Tezuka stuff. Honestly, outside of the trilogy of films, Belladonna of Sadness, Cleopatra, and 1001 Nights, and the Osamu Tezuka stuff, they didn't really make anything I've ever fucking heard of. Like, it's a lot of... I guess I've technically heard of all of this, because it all came out in, like, the 1980s. So I've read the description for all of this during Sacking Mal Eternal, but, like, none of this has really stuck with me. Who directed this, by the way? The original creator of this was Iki Kajiwara, who made a Lupin the Third movie, which was Mystery of Mamo, who was the first one. But that would have been the guy who made Ashita no Joe, wouldn't it have been? So who is the Osamu Dezaki is the one who directed this, who also directed the Clannad movie, directed episodes 19 through 40. That's almost the entire series of Rosa Versailles. This is a fucking track record, actually. Let's see. Fucking directed Dear Brother, which I believe is an iconic ass fucking Yuri anime. Space Cobra. This fucking Golgo 13. God damn, this is a track record. Holy shit. Holy shit. The Blackjack movie. Wow. Wow, this man fucking fires. He directed some Lupin movies. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay. All right, One Pan no Fukin. Wow. He directed Ace. Narie 2, which is about tennis. Um, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. So he's directed like mostly older shit that like modern anime fans don't give a shit about, but I super care about. So this is actually an impressive lineup, I'll say. Like he's directed some pretty famous shit. And then anyway, yeah. So Ashita no Joe looks like we're at fucking hell, 2 hours and 33 minutes. All right, so fucking strap your. Honestly, it's a 79 minute fucking like 79 episode anime summarized into a single movie. Of fucking course it's long. Okay, well strap yourself into this shit at an average score of 708 for the Ashito no Joe movie, Tomorrow's Joe the movie. Watch that shit dubbed. You have 2 months to do it. That's plenty of time. You can find it. What do I think? Do I think it'll be good? I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be a good excuse for me to never have to watch a 79 episode anime, which is why I watched it. I decided to add it in the first place. At the very least, this one isn't one of those instances where we get to see the anime come up and I go, why the fuck did I add this? At least we know why I added this. at least we know why this is here. All right. So anyway, yeah, you have 2 months. Check that out, watch it, and yeah, get back to me. But yeah, we're good. I think we're pretty much done for this stream. We've watched it out. Let's see. Wrapping us up. When is the next KOTOR stream? Who fucking knows? I think the question is, does Sunday count as another week or not? I frankly do not see myself trying to stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe next Monday. I might, because we streamed twice this week technically, even though Sunday is technically part of the same week, but we also streamed Thursday. So I'm thinking we're gonna rock back into KOTOR 2, where we're in Onderon next Monday, which I guess is tomorrow. So next Monday. The following Monday, we're probably going to rock back into KOTOR 2 the following Monday. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. There's no schedule right now because of like how fucking stressful and hectic work is right now. But I guess, I don't know. We'll get to it. But yeah, watch Ashita no Joe. Do we have anything else going on? I don't know. The anime channel is pretty well solid. Look forward, I guess, over the next couple weeks, because I am probably going to get the Monogatari videos settled. So look forward to Favorite Search Monogatari coming in the next weeks. But other than that, thanks for stopping by, everyone. I've been noticing that there is some, I forget what they call it because I'm a little too inebriated at this point. Stealth viewers, hidden viewers, lurkers. We've been getting a few lurkers, so I've noticed you lurkers. Shout out to you. Sith, thanks for stopping by. You've been here basically the full stream. Hopefully you had fun. We do this once every 2 months or so, and then I've been doing real games trying to do it once every week. There's no real schedule. I like to say there's a schedule. If you enjoy the anime content, you said it's funny, you can keep that at the regular schedule. But other than that, yeah, until next time, I hope you've had fun. I'm going to finish this water before we end the stream. I'm done. I've been Sacrabalic, your envoy of hope. And this has been Dialogue Tree's 2-year anniversary. I will be seeing you next time. Bye-bye.